What if I told you that a simple 3-minute morning ritual, performed with something as common as fresh ginger root, could reignite the fire in your body that you thought was extinguished forever? That regardless of how many years have passed, how many pills you've tried, or how many mornings you've woken up feeling like a shadow of your former self, this one ancient practice could begin restoring your masculine vitality starting tomorrow morning. I know that sounds impossible, especially if you've been struggling with low energy, poor circulation, and the quiet disappointment that comes when your body simply doesn't respond the way it used to. But stay with me, because what I'm about to share isn't just another supplement promise or exercise routine you'll abandon after a week. My name is Dr. Megan, and here on Life After 6, I've dedicated my career to helping men reclaim what the years have slowly taken away, not through expensive treatments, not through invasive procedures, but by awakening what your body still remembers how to do when you give it the right signal. For over 2 decades, I've watched men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s transform their energy, their confidence, and yes, their intimate relationships simply by understanding how to work with their body's natural rhythms instead of against them. And the method I'm about to reveal has consistently surprised even me with its effectiveness. The secret isn't in some exotic superfood or complex supplement regimen. It's in a morning ritual that takes just 3 minutes, uses fresh ginger root that you can find in any grocery store, and works by activating a specific nerve pathway that most men don't even know exists. This pathway, when properly stimulated, can increase blood flow, reduce the stress hormones that crush testosterone, and restore the deep, restorative sleep that rebuilds your masculine foundation every single night. Before we dive deep into this powerful method, I want you to do something that helps us build this community together. Comment below which city or country you're watching from. Like this video if it's resonating with you, and subscribe to Life After 65 so you don't miss what's coming next. Your engagement helps us reach more men who need to hear this message, and honestly, knowing where you're watching from around the world inspires me to keep creating content that can truly change lives. Now, let me tell you about the morning that changed everything for one of my patients, because his story might sound remarkably familiar to yours. 3 months ago, Robert walked into my office with the same defeated expression I've seen on countless faces. At 67, this former construction foreman who once prided himself on his strength and stamina could barely make it through his morning coffee without feeling exhausted. His wife had become more like a roommate, and the confident man who used to take charge in every situation had been replaced by someone who avoided eye contact and spoke in whispers about getting old. But Robert's transformation didn't begin with a prescription or a lecture about exercise. It began when I introduced him to something he'd been dismissing as just a cooking spice for 7 decades of his life. Fresh ginger root contains a compound called ginger, and when prepared and consumed in a very specific way, first thing in the morning, it becomes one of nature's most powerful circulatory activators. Let me explain exactly how this works, because understanding the science makes all the difference in your results. Gingerol belongs to a family of compounds called phenolic substances, and when they hit your system on an empty stomach, they immediately begin what I call vascular awakening. Think of your blood vessels like garden hoses that have been kinked and twisted for years. Gingerol works like gentle hands that slowly, systematically straighten those kinks, allowing blood to flow freely to every part of your body that needs it most. But here's where it gets really interesting, and why timing matters so much. When consumed in the morning, gingerol doesn't just improve circulation, it activates your vagus nerve, the longest nerve in your body that controls everything from your heart rate, to your digestion, to your ability to relax and feel present in your own skin. This nerve, when properly stimulated, sends a cascade of healing signals throughout your entire system. Many men tell me they feel the difference within minutes of using this method. A warmth spreading through their chest, a clarity in their thinking, and something they hadn't felt in years. A sense of being truly awake and alive in their body. Robert described it as feeling like someone turned the lights back on inside me. But circulation and energy are just the beginning. What happens next addresses something that's been secretly sabotaging men's vitality for decades, and most doctors never even think to look for it. We need to talk about the hidden inflammation that's been aging you from the inside out, and how this simple morning ritual begins reversing years of damage in ways that will surprise you. Let me show you exactly what's been happening in your body, and why this 3-minute morning practice is so much more powerful than anything you've tried before. What I'm about to tell you might shock you, but it explains why so many men feel like they're fighting an uphill battle against their own bodies after 60. There's a type of inflammation happening inside you right now that's completely different from the kind you'd notice. No pain, no swelling, no obvious symptoms, yet it's quietly destroying the very systems that make you feel like a man. This silent inflammation, what we call chronic low-grade inflammation, is like a slow-burning fire in your bloodstream. It damages the delicate lining of your blood vessels, interferes with hormone production, and creates a constant state of stress in your body that keeps you trapped in a cycle of fatigue and decline. Most men have no idea it's happening until they're already deep into the symptoms. Brain fog, low energy, poor sleep, and yes, significantly reduced sexual function. I'll never forget the day James, a 72-year-old retired teacher, came to me frustrated and confused. His doctor had told him his blood work was normal for his age, but James knew something was wrong. He'd wake up feeling like he'd been hit by a truck, struggle through afternoon energy crashes, and find himself completely disconnected from the intimate relationship he'd cherished with his wife for 45 years. When we ran specific inflammatory markers that most doctors don't think to check, the picture became crystal clear. James's body was in a constant state of internal fire, and it was consuming everything that made him feel vital and strong. But here's what makes this story remarkable. Within just 2 weeks of starting our morning ginger protocol, his inflammatory markers began dropping dramatically. The reason this works so powerfully has to do with gingerol's unique ability to target the root cause of this inflammation. Unlike medications that simply mask symptoms, gingerol actually modulates your immune system's response, teaching it to calm down and stop attacking your own tissues. It's like having a wise mediator step into a heated argument and restore peace. But inflammation is just one piece of the puzzle. What most men don't realize is that this constant internal fire is directly connected to something even more fundamental: the quality of your sleep and your body's ability to produce the hormones that make you feel strong, confident, and alive. Poor sleep doesn't just make you tired. It creates a vicious cycle that accelerates every aspect of aging. When you don't get deep, restorative sleep, your body can't produce adequate testosterone. When your testosterone is low, you can't get the kind of deep sleep your body needs to repair and regenerate. It's a downward spiral that leaves men feeling trapped and hopeless. But this is exactly where our morning ginger ritual becomes truly transformative, because it addresses both sides of this equation simultaneously. Are you starting to see why this simple practice has created such dramatic changes for so many men? We're not just treating one symptom. We're addressing the underlying systems that control how young or old you feel, how much energy you have, and how your body responds in every situation that matters. Now I'm going to walk you through the exact 3-minute morning ritual that has helped thousands of men reclaim their vitality. This isn't complicated, it doesn't require expensive equipment, and you probably already have everything you need in your kitchen right now. But the way you prepare and consume this ginger is absolutely critical to getting the results you want. Here's exactly what Robert, James, and hundreds of my other patients do every single morning, and why each step matters more than you might think. First, you'll need a piece of fresh ginger root about the size of your thumb. Not powdered ginger, not ginger supplements. Fresh, organic ginger root. The reason fresh matters is that the active gingerol compounds are most potent when they haven't been processed or dried. Think of it like the difference between fresh squeezed orange juice and orange-flavored powder. Step 1. Take that thumb-sized piece of ginger and peel it gently with a spoon. You want to remove just the thin outer skin while preserving as much of the flesh as possible underneath, because that's where the highest concentration of gingerol lives. Step 2. Using a fine grater or microplane, grate the entire piece into a small bowl. As you're grating, you'll notice the incredible aroma and might even feel a slight tingling in your skin. That's the volatile oils being released, and it's exactly what we want. Step 3. Add the grated ginger to 8 ounces of warm water, not hot, not cold, but warm enough that you can comfortably drink it. The temperature matters because it helps extract the gingerol without destroying the delicate compounds that heat can break down. Now here's the crucial part that most people get wrong. Don't strain out the ginger pulp. Drink the entire mixture, pulp and all, within 3 minutes of preparation. The longer it sits, the more the active compounds begin to degrade. And consuming the pulp ensures you're getting the full spectrum of beneficial compounds, not just what dissolves in the water. Most men tell me they feel something happening within 10 to 15 minutes. A gentle warmth spreading through their body, a clearer feeling in their head, and often a subtle but noticeable improvement in their breathing. This isn't placebo effect. This is your circulation responding, your inflammation beginning to calm, and your nervous system shifting into a more balanced state. But timing this ritual correctly is just as important as the preparation. When you do this, matters enormously for the results you'll experience, and it connects to something most men never consider about their body's natural rhythms. Let me explain when to use this method for maximum impact, and why the timing could make the difference between modest improvement and life-changing transformation. One of the most important discoveries I've made in my years of helping men restore their vitality is that when you do something can be just as powerful as what you do. Your body operates on ancient rhythms that most people completely ignore. And when you align this ginger ritual with those natural cycles, the results become dramatically more powerful. The optimal time is within the first 30 minutes after you wake up, before you've had any food, coffee, or even water. I know this might sound inconvenient, especially if you're someone who reaches for that first cup of coffee the moment your feet hit the floor, but there's a profound biological reason why this timing matters so much. When you first wake up, your body is in what we call a fasted state. Your digestive system is clear, your stomach acid is at optimal levels, and most importantly, your absorption of nutrients is at its absolute peak. Think of your body like a perfectly clean sponge. It can absorb and utilize everything. You give it far more efficiently than it could later in the day, when your system is busy processing food and dealing with daily stresses. But there's something even more significant happening in those first few minutes of consciousness. Your cortisol levels are naturally elevated to help you wake up and feel alert. However, for many men over 60, this cortisol spike has become exaggerated and prolonged, keeping you in a constant state of stress that suppresses testosterone production and interferes with healing. The gingerol compounds, when consumed during this precise window, help modulate that cortisol response. Instead of experiencing the jittery, anxious energy that many men feel in the morning, you get sustained calm alertness that carries you through the entire day. It's like the difference between lighting a firecracker and lighting a steady candle. Both create energy, but only one sustains you. Michael, a 69-year-old retired engineer, described this perfectly. He told me, "Dr. Megan, for the first time in 15 years, I wake up and actually want to get out of bed. Not because I have to, but because I feel like I have the energy to handle whatever the day brings." That shift from obligation to enthusiasm, that's what proper cortisol balance feels like. For evening intimacy, many of my patients use this ritual about 45 minutes beforehand. The improved circulation and reduced stress create an ideal internal environment for connection and performance. But the real magic happens when you use it consistently every morning for at least 30 days, because that's when you begin to see the compound effects on your sleep quality. And sleep, as you're about to discover, is where the most profound healing happens. Because while you're consciously experiencing better energy and circulation during the day, your body is using those improved conditions to rebuild and restore systems you might have thought were permanently damaged. Let me explain how this simple morning ritual transforms your nights in ways that accelerate every other aspect of your recovery. If there's one thing that breaks my heart as a physician, it's listening to men describe their sleep. I fall asleep, okay? But I'm awake at 2 a.m. staring at the ceiling. I wake up more tired than when I went to bed. I used to sleep like a rock. Now even small sounds wake me up. What these men don't realize is that poor sleep isn't just an inconvenience. It's the hidden destroyer of masculine vitality. Here's what most doctors never explain. Between the hours of 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., your body produces the majority of its testosterone, not during the day when you're active and alert, but during those precious hours of deep, uninterrupted sleep. If you're not getting quality rest during this window, your hormone production plummets, and no amount of exercise or good nutrition can compensate for that loss. But here's where our morning ginger ritual creates a beautiful cycle of healing. The gingerol compounds don't just work for a few hours and then disappear. They help regulate your nervous system throughout the entire day, creating what sleep researchers call sleep pressure, your body's natural desire for deep, restorative rest. Thomas, a 74-year-old former bank manager, came to me after 3 years of what he called garbage sleep. He'd tried melatonin, prescription sleep aids, even expensive mattresses, but nothing worked. Within 2 weeks of starting the morning ginger protocol, something remarkable happened. He began dreaming again. Vivid, memorable dreams that he hadn't experienced in years. Dr. Megan, he told me with tears in his eyes, I didn't realize how much I'd missed dreaming until it came back. And I wake up feeling like I actually slept. What Thomas was experiencing was the return of REM sleep, the deepest, most restorative phase that's absolutely essential for hormone production and cellular repair. The science behind this is fascinating. Gingerol helps activate your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode that your body needs to shift into for quality sleep. Most men over 60 are stuck in chronic sympathetic activation, the fight or flight mode that keeps you wired and prevents deep rest. When you consistently use this morning ritual, you're essentially training your nervous system to remember how to relax. Your cortisol levels begin following a healthy rhythm, higher in the morning for energy, lower in the evening for rest. Your body temperature regulation improves. Even your breathing becomes deeper and more relaxed throughout the day. And here's the beautiful part. Better sleep leads to higher testosterone, which leads to more energy, better mood, and improved sexual function, which leads to even better sleep. It's the opposite of the vicious cycle that's been aging you prematurely. Instead, you create an upward spiral of improvement that compounds week after week. But sleep and energy are just the beginning. What I'm about to share might surprise you, because it connects your morning ginger ritual to something most men never consider: the health of your mouth and how it directly impacts your ability to perform in the bedroom. This connection is so strong that addressing it could be the missing piece that finally makes everything else work. What I'm about to tell you might sound unrelated at first, but it could be the breakthrough that finally explains why nothing else has worked for you. Over the years, I've noticed something remarkable. The men who respond fastest and most dramatically to natural vitality, restoration protocols, almost always have one thing in common: excellent oral health. And the men who struggle to see results, despite doing everything else right, often have hidden problems in their mouth that no one has connected to their masculine decline. The connection is so direct and so powerful that I now consider oral health assessment an essential part of any comprehensive approach to male vitality. Let me explain why, because this could change everything for you. Your mouth is essentially the gateway to your circulatory system. Every time you swallow, and you do that about 2,000 times per day, you're sending whatever bacteria lives in your mouth directly into your bloodstream. When you have gum, inflammation, bacterial infections, or even just poor oral hygiene, you're creating a constant source of infection that travels throughout your entire body. This oral bacteria doesn't just stay in your mouth. It travels through your bloodstream and settles in the delicate blood vessels that supply your sexual organs. Think of it like trying to run clean water through pipes that are constantly being contaminated at the source. No matter how much you improve circulation with ginger or any other method, you'll always be fighting against this hidden source of inflammation and vascular damage. Studies have shown that men with advanced gum disease are up to 3 times more likely to experience severe erectile dysfunction. That's not a coincidence. That's your body telling you that. Circulation problems in your mouth are directly connected to circulation problems everywhere else. David, a 66-year-old retired firefighter, struggled with this exact issue. He'd been following every natural protocol I recommended, eating well, exercising regularly, but his energy and performance remained disappointing. It wasn't until we addressed his chronic gum inflammation that everything else started working. Within a month of improving his oral health alongside the morning ginger ritual, he experienced the kind of vitality he thought was gone forever. Here's where the ginger becomes even more powerful than you might have imagined. Fresh gingerol is one of nature's most potent antibacterial compounds. When you consume it, as I've described, those active compounds don't just enter your bloodstream. they also work directly in your mouth, neutralizing harmful bacteria before they can enter your circulation. Many of my patients tell me that their gums feel healthier, their breath is fresher, and even their dental hygienist notices improvements after just a few weeks of the morning ginger protocol. It's like getting a full-bodied detox that starts in your mouth and works its way through your entire circulatory system. But oral health is just one piece of the puzzle. What matters most is understanding what you can realistically expect and when you can expect it. Because while some men feel differences within days, the real transformation happens over weeks and months as your body rebuilds systems that have been compromised for years. Let me walk you through exactly what to expect so you can track your progress and stay motivated through the entire journey. One of the most powerful aspects of this approach is how predictable the results are when you follow the protocol consistently. I've guided hundreds of men through this process, and while everyone's journey is unique, there are clear patterns that emerge at specific. Understanding these patterns helps you recognize progress even when changes feel subtle, and it keeps you motivated during the times when transformation is happening beneath the surface. In the first 7 days, most men notice what I call the awakening signs. These are subtle but unmistakable shifts that tell you your body is responding. Robert, who I mentioned earlier, described the first week like this. I didn't feel dramatically different, but I felt more present in my own skin, like someone had adjusted the clarity on my internal television. Common first-week experiences include clearer thinking in the morning, more stable energy throughout the day without the usual afternoon crash, and often better digestion. Many men also report that they simply feel more optimistic and motivated, though they can't always pinpoint why. This isn't psychological. It's your nervous system beginning to shift out of chronic stress mode. By day 14, the changes become much more noticeable. This is when circulation improvements really start to show up. Men often experience stronger morning erections, increased sensitivity, and that feeling of blood moving more freely throughout their body. Sleep quality typically improves significantly during this period, with many men reporting deeper rest and more vivid dreams. Frank, a 71-year-old grandfather, called me on day 16 of his protocol. Dr. Megan, he said, I woke up this morning feeling like I did 20 years ago, not just physically, but mentally. I felt ready to take on the world. That sense of capability and confidence returning, that's testosterone beginning to normalize and inflammation decreasing throughout the body. The 30-day mark is where most men experience what I call the new normal. By this point, the compound effects of better circulation, reduced inflammation, improved sleep, and hormonal balance create a synergy that feels dramatically different from where you started. Energy becomes consistent and reliable. Physical responsiveness returns, with a reliability that builds confidence. Mental clarity and emotional stability improve significantly. James, the retired teacher I mentioned earlier, described his 30-day transformation this way. My wife said, I'm like a different person. Not just in the bedroom, though that's certainly better, but in everything. I'm more engaged, more present, more like the man she married 45 years ago. But here's what excites me most about this protocol. The improvements don't plateau at 30 days. Because you're addressing root causes rather than just masking symptoms, the benefits continue to compound over months and even years. Men who stick with this approach often tell me that their vitality at 65 or 70 feels better than it did at 55, before they understood how to work with their body's natural healing capacity. However, I want to be completely honest with you about one thing. This approach requires consistency and patience. If you're looking for an overnight miracle or a magic pill that works without any effort on your part, this isn't that solution. But if you're ready to invest 3 minutes every morning in a practice that can restore your vitality naturally and sustainably, then you're about to discover what thousands of men have already experienced. The choice, as it always is, comes down to this. You can continue hoping that time will somehow reverse itself, or you can start taking simple, consistent action that gives your body permission to heal and restore itself. Your vitality is waiting for you to rediscover it. The only question is whether you're ready to begin. I've spent over 20 years sitting across from men who carried the same quiet desperation in their eyes. Men who built careers, raised families, and contributed meaningfully to the world, but who felt like they were slowly disappearing from their own lives. Men who wondered if their best days were truly behind them, if the strength and confidence they once took for granted was gone forever. But I'm here to tell you something that I know with absolute certainty. It's not gone. It's not too late. And you're not broken. What you're experiencing isn't the inevitable result of aging. It's the result of living in a world that doesn't understand how to nourish masculine vitality naturally. You've been told that decline is normal, that you should accept less energy, reduced performance, and a smaller version of yourself. But that's not truth. That's just the limitation of a medical system that treats symptoms instead of restoring health. The 3-minute morning ginger ritual I've shared with you today isn't just about better circulation or increased energy, though you'll certainly experience both. It's about reclaiming your birthright as a man. The right to feel strong, confident, and fully alive in your own body, regardless of how many years you've lived. Every morning that you choose to invest those 3 minutes in yourself, you're making a declaration. You're saying that you refuse to settle for less than you deserve. You're choosing to honor the man you've always been underneath the fatigue and frustration. You're deciding that your story isn't over. It's just entering a new chapter. Think about the man you want to be 6 months from now. Picture yourself waking up with energy and enthusiasm for the day ahead. Imagine looking in the mirror and recognizing the strength and vitality in your own eyes. Envision the confidence that comes from knowing your body responds when you need it to, the peace that comes from deep, restorative sleep, and the joy that comes from feeling truly present in your relationships. That man isn't a fantasy. He's who you really are when your body has what it needs to function optimally. And he's waiting for you to take the first step. Before you close this video, I want you to do something important. Comment below and tell me, what's the one thing you're most looking forward to experiencing when your vitality returns? Is it more energy for your grandchildren? Better intimacy with your partner? The confidence to pursue something you've been putting off? Share that with our Life After 65 community, because your comment might be exactly what another man needs to hear to take action in his own life. The choice is yours now. You can close this video and hope that somehow things will improve on their own. Or you can start tomorrow morning with 3 minutes, a piece of fresh ginger, and the commitment to give your body permission to heal and restore itself. Your vitality is not lost. It's just waiting for you to remember how to access it. Start tomorrow morning, stay consistent, and prepare to rediscover the powerful, capable, fully alive man you were always meant to be.